Let's try it now. Share party audio. Let's see if that does it. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two. I think that might do it. Might be a setting.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I think. Oh, J Miles is typing. He says, "Got it." Are we coming in loud and
All
clear?
right.
All right, we're gonna.
Let's start over, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start this whole thing over, man. I gotta. Well, first of all, welcome to Madden 19 Chalk Talk on the XLM, right? Am I saying that right? Formerly of the
XLM,
SML.
man.
Yeah,
XLM.
XLM. And first of all, I want to welcome you back, Commissioner. You've signed a brand new contract with the XML. I don't know how many years you've signed this contract for. Maybe you can enlighten us on that. But first of all, this I want to restate what I did said earlier before the microphone problems that this doesn't run as well as it can run unless you're at the helm, and that was evident by the way we seamlessly got stood up, the website, the leadership you show with kind of getting everybody organized and up and running a couple of weeks after the game drops. So that's just a testimony to how well you do. And I'm glad you signed up for another year. So welcome back, Commissioner.
I appreciate it, man. I'm glad to be back. It's a good game. Glad to be playing. As I said earlier, I had to make some dealing with the stuff in the league. It kind of got to me a little bit. I had to make some quality of life changes. But it seems to be working out so far. Enjoying playing the game despite me being terrible at it. So glad to be back, man. Glad to be back. Glad I see some new blood in here that's representing so far. So we're
Yeah,
gonna keep it going.
yeah, we're going to talk about. There's a segment on the new owners that we're going to talk about. So on today's show, we're going to talk about the new rules. We're going to take a walk around the league, see what's going on in each division. We're going to kind of talk a little bit in depth about the new owners. I know we don't talk much about them because I don't want them to feel that they're left out. They are an integral part of the league, and we want to kind of talk a little bit about each one, and then we want to talk about some of the games that we saw and some of the interesting decision making that I saw last week and the last couple of days that has me going Stephen A. Smith on some folks, and then we'll stir the pot. Let's jump right into it. First of all, Commissioner, you've been getting a lot of scrutiny from the media, and we say the media because we don't want to say any names, but they've been talking about that you're taking the fun out of the XML and you're not allowing them to trade. You're putting all these restrictions on them. They want this wild, wild west. Can you talk a little bit about why you did what you did and the thinking behind it?
Well, there's a lot of different reasons, but the primary reason, well, there was a multiple reasons. I mean, number one, when you're playing on a league where it's a money league, you want the teams to be as fair as possible. So, I tightened up the guidelines for auto approval to make sure that there weren't as many lopsided trades going on. Because it's one thing when you're just playing for bragging rights. It's another thing when somebody gets a Pro Bowl or an All Star player for three dudes that are like 10 points below them or 15 points below them, and there's money on the line. So that was one of the primary motivators. But outside of that, the draft pick change was primarily because every season we would have a situation where people are trading. So at the beginning of the season, everybody thinks they're good. I'm not calling out any individual names, but at the beginning of the season, everybody's 0-0. Everybody thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. And for the first 3 or 4 weeks, all the draft picks were like 85. So what you would have is you would have players who aren't traditionally good who would trade their first rounders at their low point. So when they're 85s to get a player who they think, hey, this player is going to change it for me. This player is going to make me win. So um, and then we would come to the draft and we'd be looking and we'd be like, how the hell did Bahama Burner get the number one pick?
Yeah,
So that was
yeah,
it was
yeah.
that was a weekly occurrence. So I wanted to make sure that my first thought was don't allow any trades or draft picks at all until the off season because then you would know specifically like what your draft pick would be. And draft picks are hard to get during the draft because that's when people know what all the rookies look like. So I compromised and made it 6 weeks. That way
Mhm.
we'll know exactly what the records are. I don't have to guesstimate
Mhm.
what the pick is going to be. I don't have to base it on last season. I can base it on this season.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
So what?
that
So
was pretty
what?
much the thinking behind it.
So what do you say to the critics that say, "Oh, Monk, man, the guys are going to quit anyway. Nobody, you know, this is not going to stop them. Every year we got quitters, and it doesn't matter what you do." I mean, how do you respond to that type of charge?
Well, I mean, they may quit. I'm not saying it's going to stop people from quitting. What I am saying though is that it's going to be a lot easier, I believe. So let's say somebody plays, let's say somebody who's already in the league right now quits in week 5. Well, number one, we're gonna know that that team that they're leaving is still gonna have all their draft picks, or at least their draft picks that matter, the first and the second round draft picks, and that we're gonna know that they have most of their high profile players because you can only trade I think it's 290s per well 190 under 30 per season and another one over 30 per season. So it's a situation where the teams are going to be in a lot better shape. Now you can decimate your roster all you want, all the mid-rated players, and that's
Mhm.
what the majority of trades are anyway. And you can
Mhm.
still do that one or two blockbusters you want to do. And when the picks are able to be traded, you can trade your picks. But this is going to give us some leeway to kind of see where people are at before we start making major changes like that.
Mhm. Mhm. And I guess it essentially keeps teams together so that they're attractive when new owners come, which is the main reason, right? You want to, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it
yeah.
keeps teams together. We have a situation where, and the other motivator is, um, like I said, with regards to trying to keep the teams together. But I think it's going to make it a lot easier to replace owners if we have to replace owners. And to be honest, like then you have the issues with the cap issues. Like you got these first round picks who have these new contracts with these bonuses, and people are trading them, and then 2 seasons from now they're like, I don't have any cap room. So it solves a multitude of problems,
Mhm. Mhm.
I believe. And I
Mhm.
know it is not as many trades, but
Mhm.
that's just the nature of the beast. I think y'all will be all right. Y'all will make it.
So the days of Bahama with 6 number 1 picks, we may not see that again, right? I'm
I
guessing.
mean, he could still get it. Yeah, he could
Yeah.
still get it, but it's gonna cost more
Yeah.
because we're gonna know when he's trading for it that
Mhm.
hey, this is the number one pick. This is not an
Mhm.
85 overall. So I mean, that's
Right.
that's kind of where it's at, man. That's my thought process behind it. I
Yeah.
knew people
Yeah.
were not gonna like it because
Yeah.
people don't like to have their freedom taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. This
But
is right. This is
it's
America,
more
but I
about
get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's less about freedom. It's more about making sure that
Mhm.
we got a balanced playing field for
Mhm.
everybody.
Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but on Daddy League, they have some type of trade. I don't know if you noticed this. There's some type of trade number in Daddy League where they value a player. I don't know if you've even noticed that. But if you take a look
Yeah,
at
they
that,
had that last year
they did?
for. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it came in like really late last year, but yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's anything we would ever use, but it is an interesting metric to kind of put a total number on the value and then what draft round, and I don't even know how accurate that information is there, but it is something that I noticed. So
Yeah, I don't
commissioners,
I don't know what their
mhm.
formula is, but go ahead.
Speaking of trades, before we get into the new owners, there have been some blockbuster moves already, and I just kind of want to go into them one by one and get your take on some of the things that happen. And a day wouldn't be complete if Polo didn't make a deal. And one of the top deals that we saw was Tom Brady leaving the New England Patriots, going to the Los Angeles Chargers, and Philip Rivers obviously going to the bench. Your thoughts just immediately on that one because you just don't see the GOAT traded uh, just like that.
Well, the thing about I mean, the thing about Tom Brady on this game is he's so freaking old that it is a crapshoot going into a season, not knowing whether this dude is going to retire or not. So, I expected him to be traded. I didn't expect him to be traded this soon, and I wouldn't have definitely not expected the trade to go for it to be with Polo. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing you think about with Polo is it doesn't really matter to him because he already had an old quarterback. So
Mm-hmm.
he can get a better quarterback for 1 year, maybe two if Brady stays, and then he can
Mm-hmm.
go back to Rivers. So it buys him some time, and he gets
Mm-hmm.
to have the best quarterback he can have in the meantime. So I thought it was a good
Mm-hmm.
deal for him, and I kind
Yeah.
like I said, I expected um,
Mm-hmm.
I expected Brady to be traded, and it was good. I think of the
Mhm.
Patriots to grab. I think didn't he get Bridgewater or something to replace Brady?
Well, yeah, he got well that was in he got Bridgewater in the trade with the Jets,
Okay,
and he got Bridgewater and his linebacker Martin, and I think Flowers and some tight end went in that deal. So that was the original deal, and I guess that allowed him to trade for Brady because he needed a quarterback. So
right.
I think that happened first, and then Verrett, the cornerback, went over to uh, New England. I'm sorry, yeah, to New England as well to fortify their defense. Speaking of quarterbacks, we saw another trade. I think it was yesterday. It got a lot of scrutiny with the 10 man, and the 10 man is never shy with rebuilding his team. so uh, uh, Teddy Bridgewater, I think, then leaves that team to go to the uh, Jacksonville Jaguars, where Blake Bortles is now a New York Jet, and he also got a wide receiver that was a 94 speed receiver with about 6'3" height, and so that was a good deal. A lot of people are saying that he shouldn't have done that. I mean, uh, Blake Bortles is not like the Blake Bortles of in real life. I mean, but I think 10 man wants to throw the ball down the field, and yeah, I don't think he felt he could do that with Sam Darnold.
Man, I had multiple talks with Tim Man about not necessarily this particular deal, but what quarterback he should keep. And he just kept saying, I'm a big fan of Bridgewater. I'm going to keep Bridgewater. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like Teddy Bridgewater is a solid quarterback. I had him last year, but Darnold and him are not that different. Darnold, I believe, is has less. What am I trying to say? He has less deep throw accuracy. I want to say, but again, he's younger.
Hmm.
And Tin Man throws the ball a lot. He doesn't run it. So I was like, just play with the dude and win some awards. You never know what's gonna happen. So he tried that for
Hmm.
a hot second, and then next
Hmm.
thing I know, dude's gone. It's like okay.
Yeah, yeah, a
So I
little
don't know.
impatient. Some might say a little impatient, but his argument was that he needed to build up the guy, and he doesn't need to build up this quarterback, and he has a guy he can use right now. And listen, I have to admit, Tin Man is one of the guys that definitely does a lot of restructuring. He has a plan, and he's got a team that arguably needs a whole lot of things. So I'm curious in
Yeah.
season 5 what this group looks like.
But
Um,
see, the other thing is, like with Tin Man, Tin Man, in my opinion, is one of the best people I think in the league at building players. So I found it surprising that he was so quick to be like, oh, I don't want to build this dude. Like, it's just like, what is that? So,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But I mean, hey, we'll see
uh,
how it works out. Like I said, man, like I've said to everyone, we're early. You
yeah.
never know how this stuff is gonna shake out.
What I am noticing though that Sam Darnold is not a scheme fit for what Jacksonville is doing. So that's the other thing. I don't know how many people are understanding what the scheme fit is, but it does allow you to get extra XP if the player matches your scheme. So it is to your
Right.
benefit to get somebody that matches your scheme. And I'm noticing Sam Darnold is not fit what Jacksonville is doing, but it does look like Blake Bortles does fit what Tin Man is trying to do. So I guess he
Yeah,
so
this the scheme
yeah.
fit is super important. I mean, it's really gonna be a situation at some point where people are gonna be trading players that they normally wouldn't trade because of it. Like I've got a player on my team right now that I've got two players on my team right now that I like, but I really can't keep long
Mhm.
term because they don't fit.
Yeah.
And you got to take that into consideration because you're missing out on XP every single week if you don't have
Mhm.
people that fit. So
Mhm.
that's important to make sure that you're paying attention to that.
Yeah, another big trade we saw the Buccaneers and dare I say the Chargers traded Mike Evans. I mean, these are names you just don't expect to be seeing moved over in week 3
Mike
for
Evans.
yeah, Mike Evans for Melvin Gordon, who if Ratchet had them, that would never happen. But now, but now this guy is trucking folks. I actually saw him truck a couple of dudes on the Bears last night, And
Yeah, he's tough.
yeah, he's a tough. That was one of the notable trades. And Peter Truth made a trade for his quarterback as well, getting Tyrod Taylor and putting Andy Dalton on the bench. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about either of those two teams.
Yeah, so I was surprised to see Mike Evans get traded because this is your boy Lons who's been crying and complaining about not having Tampa Bay for all these years, and then he
Uh,
trades arguably
yeah,
his best player.
yeah. That's good. That's a good
So, but I
point. Good
mean,
point.
I haven't played. This is like I said, it's still early. I haven't played a lot of people, so it's tough for me to say like scheme wise what Lons does. But I think Lons grabbed. Who did Lons end up? He got a back, right? Did he get Gordon or did he
Yeah,
get somebody else?
he got Gordon in that deal, and then there was also Delaney. We made another deal with the Titans where he got Delaney Walker. I'm sorry, Delaney Walker and Jack Conklin went over for O.J. Howard and
Got you.
Charles
So,
Sims. Yeah,
I mean, I see with the Gordon trade, Lons. We all know Lons made his name with Todd Gurley. So,
yeah,
him getting Gordon, I think, kind of fits what he wants to do a little bit better. And then
yeah,
Polo, Polo's gonna pass it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but with the Conklin trade, that I didn't really like that trade because Howard's nasty, but the offensive lineman that he got for him is really good. So
yeah,
it's a situation where I think if that's a lot of people say offensive line doesn't matter, but clearly Lons thinks it matters because he traded one of the best young
yeah,
tight ends on the game um,
yeah,
to strengthen up his line. So it's
yeah,
gonna be interesting to see how it shakes out, man. I like to see these moves early, and I like to see
yeah.
over time how this stuff develops.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about him over time because people think that, oh, yeah, that deal I made back in season one doesn't have any ramifications. Well, we're going to check back in on some of those deals. So, any other? Oh, I was looking at there were some other deals, but they're not going to get on the air today. All right.
Some of those deals aren't that important.
Yeah, they're not breaking news worthy, so we're not dealing with them. So, uh, the new owners in the league, and this has always been, you know, this has always been a tricky thing to do because you don't know people. I think last season we had a couple of sensitive cats that were just, bent out of shape anytime you kind of looked at them the wrong way. This group we got now is a gully group. They are bringing in, and I kind of hit you up behind the scenes, and I kept saying I like these new owners because they're not really, they go about their business. I see them, scheduling their games. They're like, I'll play you at advance, so they're aggressive. I mean, I want to talk about a few of these new owners just to get your take on what you think. Some have been quiet and some not so quiet, and I want to talk a little bit about that because some have been folks been letting us know that they're there. Let's start in the NFC East with they call me Big D and the Redskins. Uh,
Big D, man. Look, it's hard for me to say like how good he is because I'm not that good, and he beat me pretty bad. I kept it close in the first half, but after that, he took it over. I can tell you that the dude knows what he's doing scheme wise. He's played for money, so we know that he at least has can handle some pressure situations. I cannot wait for him to play. Like his schedule has been soft, and I'm including myself in that soft schedule. But I can't wait until he plays. I think he plays Bahama this year. I know he plays BK twice. I can't wait until those games because we will
oh,
see where he is.
oh man, yeah,
Um,
this is the guy who won. Told us he won because when I vetted him, I said, well, tell me a little bit about yourself and what makes you think that you're going to be successful in the league. And he comes right out and says, well, I won $6,600 in in the saloon thing, and I was
that's
like,
a good place
wow,
to start.
yeah, gamer saloon. So I said, all right, well, then our $10 donation should not be too much of
Nothing
a
to eat.
problem for you. Yeah, yeah. So he's gonna fit right in perfectly. I love his attitude. I love his moxie, as they say, and
Yeah.
that NFC East. I'm looking. Do you know how in real life you're looking forward to the real Dallas Cowboys and the Redskins? Well, guess what, Monk? I'm looking forward to the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, well, one of the I don't know if you saw this. Well, I think this was today when Tin Man asked to scrimmage with him, and he said, "I'm not scrimmaging with you for free. We could play for money." Tin Man was like, Tin Man was like, "Nah, I ain't playing for no money." He was like, "We ain't playing for money. This wasting my time."
And this is why I love the Redskin coach, man. And I hope we're able to keep these owners really good spirited and he's knocking heads off and taking names. All right, next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to talk about Mello Baldwin. I think you know a little bit more about him than I do. Uh, do you want to talk a
So
little bit about the new owner? He's off to a tough
yeah,
start. He lost
he
the
is.
opening game to Cleveland by 3, but
So Mello is my man from college. He
uh,
me and him used to battle in Madden back in college, and but he hadn't played Madden in a while. Like I don't know exactly how long it's been, but I remember every time I saw him, I was like, "Look, man, we got this league. You need to get in it. You need to get in it." So finally, and this is one of the main reasons why I got a little bit more excited about playing, is because when he called me and was like, "Hey, I want to play," I was like, "Oh, well, I got to play then because this is my man's."
mhm,
So
mhm,
he hadn't been playing with the frequency that we've been playing, so I expect him to
mhm,
take a while to kind of get
mhm,
everything back in order. But I
mhm,
can tell you that back in the day, like he had the skills, like he had the user skill.
mhm,
So I'm hoping that he's able to get it back together and
mhm.
go from there.
And speaking of people you know, the next coach that I'm seeing up on my list is the M Game C Bro 2. And this guy is very known as the Carolina Panther coach. And I think he ended up getting his team, right? Is this his favorite team?
He's apparently a Panthers fan, so
Yeah.
it's a million of those.
Yeah, exactly. And you
But
guys, yeah.
yeah, he also went to school with me. Or
Mm-hmm.
actually, I don't think he went with me, but he went to the same school I went to.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm not gonna reveal his identity. But with that
Yeah.
said, he seems to be a very committed coach. But
Mm-hmm.
him and Melo haven't won a game yet.
Yeah.
And you know
0
how
and
it is,
3.
man. First season in the league, there's gonna be some growing pains. So I don't expect much from them this first season. I just hope they stick it out and
Mm-hmm.
can shake off the rust and make some noise.
Yeah. Next is Calvin Johnson on 81, and he's a Vikings coach, and another new recruit that was able to. I think he came through the website. I'm not sure, maybe over PS4, on because I kind of was doing some soliciting over there. And let me tell you this, Monk, the guy is solid. I think I
Uh,
played the Vikings last night. It must have been about 100 degrees when I'm sweating at the end of the game. He's, you know, definitely a tactician of the game. And with that team and them linebackers flying around, the Vikings are going to be tough in the NFC North. So people were asking, are the Vikings for real? I'm going to give my opinion, if that matters, and the answer is those Vikings are for real.
so I didn't catch the end of your game. What was the final
Yeah.
score?
It was 17-10, and he had drove down to, I think, like the 15-yard line and then threw an interception with Kirk Cousins. But
Okay.
yeah, the guy is a serious business, and uh, if he stays in the league, that NFC is going to be the playoffs are going to be lit. I'm saying the playoffs are going to be fun to watch, and
Yeah,
NFC
there's
would
a
be
there's a lot of talent in the NFC. It's gonna be rough, man.
yeah.
It's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
rough. But I'm like you, man. I'm excited to see it. I watched some of the game that you guys played, and he seems to be real solid on defense. And being solid on defense with that Viking squad is a dangerous combination.
They are. The next coach is TBC Plowboy, and I want to tell you a quick story about him. When I had asked some of the new owners to tell me about themselves, and I asked some of the owners to give me a write up of your team, just kind of for the website because we were doing the predictions. I said I need to know a little bit more about you. I want you guys to know this coach returned almost like 2 pages back to me, breaking down offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, it was thorough. I mean, he broke down parts of the game that I wasn't even thinking about. So the guy is definitely a lover of Madden. He does know the sport of football. And again, it looks like another great owner choice that we have. TBC
Yeah,
Plowboy. Yeah.
I have to rely on your information for him. I have noticed his record. I didn't see what he did this past week, but
Uh,
like I said in the crackback that I wrote, man, it's good to see a lot of these guys starting out fast. But I feel like none of them have really played like the top half players. I want to
mm-hmm.
say Plowboy might have beaten the Titans. Can't remember, but
Plowboy is two. The Denver Broncos are 2-1. He just lost to the Ravens the other day,
okay,
and he to
yeah,
your. I think you're right. He played Seattle, and he beat Oakland.
good. So I want to see as the season goes on. Like you said, I can't wait to see these guys play
Hmm.
the upper echelon players to see how they perform.
And our last new coach is Major Payne 7 over in the AFC East division, and he's been active in the chat. Definitely letting us know how he feels about things, trying to get active with trades. I know he had a late pick, uh, and he was, like a lot of us, having to deal with rebuilding the Dolphins. But a great attitude. I think he's also 2-1 in a very competitive division, and I'm sorry, 2-2. He just lost a game. He's 500 now, but another a good owner, I think. Competitive early. He just lost to New England. I don't know if we saw that game televised, but he lost to New England uh, by 3. And we're going to talk about television rights in a second. But that's the
Yes,
new
I
owner
didn't.
there.
Yeah, he's been super active. He's been hitting me up in the PM, asking me questions about what's going on. Always glad to see owners who are really, thinking about what's going on and what they can
Hmm.
do and what and what's how the league works. So
Yeah,
glad to see that. He's in a that division is very interesting to me because you got him, you got somebody like that's a true serum division. That's a division where we're gonna find out between Tim Man killing and him and who's the other owner in there?
that would
Who am
be
I
the
forgetting?
Buffalo
Jets.
Bills. Yeah,
Oh, that would be you.
yeah, Buffalo Bills.
That would be the
Bill,
Buffalo
man.
Bills.
Buffalo
Yeah,
Bill.
man, it's gonna be interesting to see how that shakes out because it's a lot of people in there who are used to winning,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
with three people in that division, man, I know from last year,
yeah.
it is gonna be hard. All three of y'all ain't gonna get in every year,
Nah, nah.
so it's gonna be some fights,
All right.
but it's gonna be interesting.
Speaking of around the league, and before we go around the league, I just want to talk about the new television XLM broadcast rule that you instated. I just want to know your thoughts about that, and then reinforce the importance of making sure everybody streams their game. I know that was another big talking point in the off season. If you could talk a little bit about that and how you feel about where the game is at on XML YouTube now.
So yeah, man, I mean, most people broadcast already. It's another thing where when we're playing for money, I only think it's fair that everybody has the same amount of tape on their opponent versus a situation last year where you had half the league who never streamed, and then some people who streamed all the time. I mean, I don't think it is a big advantage either way, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the same amount of footage needs to be out there for everybody. But on top of that, man, I really like the way. I don't know if anyone's been to the site lately, and if you don't know the site, you should. It's maddenleads.com. But basically, my idea when I made it was pretty much what it is now, which is to basically have when you go to the site, it'd be like a TV screen. So when you go there, if someone's playing live, you'll see, whatever the live game is streaming as soon as you go to the page. And if no one's streaming live, then it'll start playing automatically the last game that was streamed. So I think it's awesome because you can always know, what's going on in the league. You always know who's playing, who's streaming, and you can review the games at any point. And in the channel format, you got every game. We'll have every Super Bowl in there, every playoff game, and I think it'll be great. It'll be great for you when we're going
Hmm.
out looking for new users because you can say, "Hey,
Yeah.
check this out." So I mean, I think it's good. I still have some owners who are indicating they're having issues streaming, that they're lagging when they're streaming.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's 8 games. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Get
pretty
your.
sure if you
Yeah.
don't feel like you can stream,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But you better hope your opponent is willing to do you a favor and stream because there are
Yeah.
penalties for streaming. I've heard some people say they're not going to stream. Well, the first
Yeah.
penalty is a warning. The second one's a 1 game suspension.
Yeah.
Third one's a 3rd game suspension, and the fourth one we're looking to replace people because we want
Yeah.
people who are active and we want people to stream games.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. In this day and age, we should be able to stream like the rest of the planet. And
And there's so many leagues that do it without a problem.
yeah.
That is the big thing. Is like it's not impossible. Like there are
Yeah.
so many leagues that require streaming, and it's
Yeah.
not an issue. So I don't get why it's such an issue here, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree, and it's exciting. If you got a big screen TV in your house, and then you could just pull up the YouTube channel like I have on my Verizon Fios. I was watching the big screen. I was watching the Lions the other night against the Patriots, and it was a treat, man. I was like, I really liked the way that looked, and then games are just popping off at the same time, and we know some folks think it's lame, as I just read in the chat, but you know, get on or get
Well,
left. All
it is
right.
what it is, man. We gonna stream. So
Yeah, we got to stream. Next, let's take a little walk around the league. I want to start off in your conference in the NFC East first. So we've got. Let me just get the schedule. I mean the standings up. The NFC East. We're going to start over there with the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys, both undefeated so far after 3 games. The Eagles with Billy Harvey at 2-1, and then the Giants down at 1-3.
listen, man. Billy's game don't change. Billy's game is gonna stay the same. Billy ain't gotta practice. He's just gonna annoy you, and he's gonna annoy you to 2-1. It was I thought it was crazy that he shut out lines. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean that's Billy Harvey for you, man. He can piss off even the best of us. BK's trucking along at 3-0. He's had some tight ones though, so it's gonna be like I said. Can't wait for them Cowboys and the Indians to fight, man.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody's going to be a wild card, and somebody's going to be a division winner. Let's go to the NFC North with the Lions with the 32nd pick. I mean, is it scheme or team? This has to be scheme because he had the last pick and the team nobody wanted at 3-0. Ratchet and the Bears at 2-2. The Vikings at 2-1, and Booker bringing up the rear at 0-3. I mean, your thoughts about this tough group?
It looks like it's a tough group, but Jay Miles is in control of that right now. The Lions are not a bad team. The problem with the Lions is they are not a good long-term team. Like they have a bunch of old players who are not going to get better, who you're going to have to replace, and they don't really have any explosive players. So those are the two big issues with the Lions. So I'm not surprised he's 3-0 at this point. I think he plays the Cowboys this week, but from what I'm seeing with the way this game plays, man, it is going to be it is a game which J Mouse style play I think is going to be really
Mm-hmm.
successful.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean that's shown in the part that he's 3-0, and I know he didn't buy the game until like the last minute. So
yeah.
um, he can't have put that much time into it. So he's just rolling off the traditional J Mouse scheme. So glad to see it. Like you said, the Vikings. I think he'll be there, toughing it out. He's had a tough start as far as playing you early,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see what Booker does. Ratchet has not been looking super good. He shut me out, and I don't have
Mm-hmm.
room to talk, but I'm gonna talk anyway. He
Yeah,
shut me
talk,
out, but
talk.
I mean the dude he had 12 points. He didn't really have any explosive plays. He just played
Yeah,
ratchet ball,
yeah,
controlling the ball, and
yeah.
I gave him the game, gave him a ton of interceptions. His user's still there, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he's still got a way to go on offense. I think he
Mm-hmm.
lost to DC, so
I think
that
he's missing
division I would say is
Gordon.
J Miles.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's missing Gordon. I think he relied heavily on Gordon, and now he's got this, Howard or whatever the back is over there. He's not used to it. He's got a truck sometimes, and I think he's out of his comfort zone. And that division's going to test him because I'm telling you, those Vikings, that defense is no joke. I mean, not that
Yeah, man.
holding me to 10 is any big effort, but I'm telling you, that's a tough group over there. So
Man,
I'm
you
looking
got you
for,
got three people, man. You got
yeah.
three quality players in that division. So
Yeah, three in the East, so that's going to be tough. And let's go to the NFC South with Bahama, who arguably arguably should be 4 and 0, and I know in his mind he's 4 and 0, but when
I
you
heard
have
about
a
that.
hiccup
I
like
didn't see
that,
it.
I mean, that is just unconscionable. I don't understand that. I mean, how do you, I don't think we've ever seen that.
Yeah, that
And
was.
then he
I didn't
kicked it
actually
into
see
his
it, but
own
he told me
player.
about it.
I mean, did you see it? He kicked it. First, he goes onside kick. Then he kicks it into the side of one of his guys running down the field. And then it turns out to be like a 39-yard field goal.
Yeah, man, that is
Yeah,
weird. That is crazy. I don't know what he was thinking,
yeah,
but
that's only
he'll
Baham.
be all right, man. That Falcons team is super talented. The Saints, Dog Nick has had a rough schedule to start, man. And if I feel
Man,
like, yeah, it's,
man, can we talk about Dog Nick? Dog Nick's getting a lot of scrutiny, but I got to pile on here. Dog Nick should be 0 and 4. Dog Nick should be 0 and 4. He should be 0 and 4. That
yeah,
one win was the kick.
yep, yep,
He
yeah.
lost today.
Who
Come
do you play
on.
today? I didn't
He
see you play today. Who do you play today?
he lost to it was a game I was watching and he lost like to the Giants. He lost
Uh,
to Mojo.
yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, yeah,
I loved
there's not much.
listen, I
I mean, not that
Monk,
Mojo's a
I
bad player,
love
but
listen,
that's a game he was favored with this
Monk, I
team.
love Dog Nick, man. He's a lifer, nuts and bolts kind of coach. He had an early pick. But I'm looking at this here, only 66 points in 4 games, and arguably he should be 0 and 4. He lost to the Giants today.
Yeah, like I said, man, he's got work to do, just like many of us. But yes, that win, man, I don't know, and it's gonna be terrible because you seen how BK and Lons and King are on this
Oh,
dude,
we're going to
so
get to Lons in
it's
a
only
minute.
gonna get worse.
Let's get to Lons in a minute. But one more note on the Saints. I'm going to tell you the Saints' next 3 games: the Redskins, the Ravens, and then the Vikings.
Mm.
It's over. It's
I mean,
over.
he's out. Yeah,
It's one. They're 1 and 6, Monk. That's gonna be one. Do you see him beating the Redskins?
no,
Do you
no,
see him
that's
beating
not
the
gonna be it.
Ravens?
No, but he could win that game.
Uh,
He could win that game. Renegade is not in
yeah.
in in turbo form right now, man. Renegade. Who did
He's not.
Renegade lose to? Renegade lost to somebody he shouldn't have lost to.
He did. The Baltimore Ravens are 2 and 2, I think. Let me just look them up real quick. They lost
Yeah,
to
let me look.
Buffalo, and they lost to. Oh no, I think they're 2 and 1. They're 2 and 1. 2 and 1.
Really? I thought he
Yeah,
lost. I could have sworn. I take that back then. Never mind.
yeah,
He lost to you.
yeah. He beat.
That's something that happens quite
Yeah,
often.
yeah. We've been fortunate against them, but it's early, and I listen. The Saints have a monster team. They've got all the ingredients, and then what if Drew Brees retires this year? I mean, what
I think
happens?
the Saints. I want to say the Saints are that team that has that sleeper young quarterback, Kiabata or something like that. So I
Oh,
think he can step in. I think that's the guy who I put in my preview. I was saying they've got some young quarterback who's like 22 or 23 who has like 80s in all major passing categories. So I think he'll be all right. But I mean, he's not all right with Breeze right now. So there's
all right,
work to be done, man.
all right, and let's go to my main man, Lons, who listen. A lot was made of the loss to the Eagles, but I'm looking right now. They're right on top of the division at 3-1. They bounced back after some were calling catastrophic loss to the Eagles on national television. They got shut out, but they bounced back, beat Pittsburgh, beat Chicago in that gritty game we saw the other night. Last night, I believe, 13-10. And now they get a bye and then they play Atlanta, which is going to be a good one.
Yeah, Lonzo's gonna be all right, man. But
Yeah,
again, that is a division that is jam packed. I feel like I'm saying that
yeah.
for every division.
That is, and Nick, if he ever gets it together, that could potentially be 3 teams fighting for 2 spots. And So let's take it to, and I'm going to take a dramatic pause here. The NFC West.
Yeah, NFC West
um,
is full of a bunch of people who are not very good right now.
I,
That's all I'm gonna say.
I, uh, I'm going to talk about you because I know you don't want to talk in the third person. But uh, when when the season started and after the draft, the media was like, "Oh my God, how lucky is Monk? He's in the division with DC, K Pizzle, and Tide. That's a walk in the park." Now, no
Not a
need to
walk in the
panic.
park right now.
We're only 3 games in. I'm showing you with 35 points in 3 games and 71 points against. You're in
I didn't
first.
score any of those points.
Yeah, that's right. One of those was a sim. That is true. You got shut out on one of these games, I think,
Ratchet.
the
Bears.
Ratchet game, and then you scored 7 against the Redskins, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, just quickly, can you talk about, is there a scheme? I'm hearing things coming out of Arizona that the quarterback just comes to the line of scrimmage and just snaps the ball. He doesn't even read the coverage. I mean, is that
There's no scheme,
true?
man. It is true. I mean, pretty much, man. Like, I'm struggling, man. It's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, at the
All
end of the
right.
day, like, I've been spending most of my time in practice mode, so I got a feel for the routes that work, but I can't get time to throw a lot of them. I got a feel for what I should be running, but I have not played a lot of games against humans. So
Mm,
it's one of those
mm-hmm,
things where, you get these reps in practice mode, and
mm-hmm,
then you go into the actual game, you're like, oh, this dude usually wide open against the computer, and then you got a
mm-hmm.
user who you got to account for. So
Yeah, yeah,
for
that's
me,
true.
man, it's really like this game. I'm still early in my prep cycle,
Mm-hmm,
man. It's a situation where I got to get more games in, and once I get more games in and get comfortable with giving
mm-hmm.
users two options to choose from, I think we'll be all right, man. I'm not worried about
Nah,
it, but
nah, okay.
everybody thinks I'm washed up, and that's
Oh,
great because when I'm no longer washed up,
yeah,
I will remind everybody
yeah, yeah. We're
of
gonna go
that.
pull up this tape that the
So it
the
is what it is, man.
yeah, okay.
So, but with that said, everybody's saying, everybody said, hey, this division is not mine with the way that I'm playing right now. Like what you don't understand about this is number one, I can lose anybody. Number two, the Rams team is stupid. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm,
gonna be able to run when I play those dudes. So if I'm
mm-hmm,
not on my game as far as passing the ball, like I can drop a game or
mm-hmm,
two.
mm-hmm.
DC, you know how DC plays, man.
Yeah,
DC is an eternal person who frustrates me when I play him. So
yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if I dropped 3 or 4 division games. I hope not, but who knows, man? I'm not. This season is not a season where I'm looking at like this is gonna be my best season. If it turns out that way, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I just finished my playbook and my audibles yesterday, so
All right, just breaking training camp. I got you. All right.
pretty much,
All right. All right. Training camp just broke in Arizona.
yeah,
All
pretty
right.
much, pretty much.
Seattle. Any thoughts on Tide down at? And their Tide had a tie, I think, against the Chiefs.
Against
If I,
Squirrelbird,
yeah, I don't even know how that happens, but I've been in one myself.
21-21, man. They were burning
Yeah,
up the scoreboard. They just
yeah,
couldn't finish it off. Man, Tide struggling.
yeah.
But Todd didn't kid himself, man. He knows
Yeah.
he's not super good. I don't even know how much effort he puts into being super good, but he enjoys playing and he's a good owner. So
I don't
I
know if you've
always want
ever,
to see,
if yeah, have you
go
ever
ahead.
listened to a Tide telecast, man? That is, I
I
go get
have.
some popcorn and some Twinkies, man, and I'm like, man, and you hear the emotion, and he had a tough loss, man. He was driving the ball. He had the Lions right where he wanted him, and then the Lions convert some 4th and 13 with 6 guys around a guy, and all you heard was, "Oh fuck, man!" You heard something like that, and that raw emotion is always entertaining. I know
I was a
not for
good
him
dude,
because
man.
yeah, great, we love Tide. Not going to get any easier for Ty because he plays the Chargers next, and so
Mm.
that's going to be a problem for the San Francisco 49ers. And then he plays you. All right, let's flip it over to AFC. We're going to go over to the AFC East. I'm sorry, oops, I went to the West. The AFC East, where the Buffalo Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets. Uh, I'll ask you to talk about this division. I want to talk in the third person, but what are your thoughts about the AFC East?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, you sitting 3-0 is not a good thing for these other people. But like it's another division. You got three,
Yeah.
probably four solid players. I mean, we still have to find out more information about Major Payne,
Mm-hmm.
but you got three solid players at a minimum, maybe four. And
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be somebody who's accustomed to making the playoffs who's going to miss it. Right now, it
Yeah.
does not look like that person's going to be you. And I must
Mm.
go ahead and give you your props because you are doing this with the Buffalo Bills, which is a team
Yeah.
that is not very good.
No, no, they're not. The quarterback's a bunch of 70s, and but we got to build them up. Um, Killing you is tough. 10 man, you listen to a 10 man telecast, so you hear the clicker in the background, like. So there's a lot of activity on the controller. So he's making 80 moves, and then the new guy, the Dolphin Major Payne, is right there, and he's got a solid scheme. I don't know if you watched him, but and the way that the game plays, and we didn't talk about this. I love the way this game plays, man. It punishes you if you make a mistake, and as it should,
Yeah, you're
and
gonna
I
if
like
you
that.
throw the ball in the coverage, there ain't
Yeah,
none of that drop
yeah,
and pick stuff.
nah, yeah,
Um, if you run to the wrong side, you're not gonna get no yards. Like it's rough, man. It's brutal.
yeah,
And the I like the run. I like the run game. Unfortunately, it's
mm,
hard. Like it's not easy.
yeah, yeah,
I was glad to see that they adjusted it some. But
mm,
I don't know if you noticed, but week one we had like 200-yard rushers maybe. So it's not gonna be one of those
yeah,
seasons where we have these
yeah.
2,000, 2,200 yards rushing, man. Like it's tough to get 100 yards.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I hope they keep it just like it is. And I'm a running guy, but I like where the game is at. It's playing well. Feels like mad.
It's fair, man.
Yeah, it's
It's
fair, and
fair. And if you play like the cornerbacks are not making crazy
yeah,
plays like they were last year, but it's still tough to pass.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
fair. And like if you play a solid defensive game, like people
yeah,
aren't gonna put a lot of points up on you. Like we're seeing games, single digit games, which I
yeah,
know a lot of people don't like. But like I said, you play good defense, man. You're gonna be all right. It's tough to score in the red zone because you can't just run it in. You ain't got to worry about giving up no home run. Like I don't know about you, but I have not seen a lot of like home runs, like long runs. Like I don't think I've seen
hmm
a run longer than 40 or 50 yards.
No, no, we haven't. And despite all of the YouTube videos with, hey, you can do this if you click on my link. But yeah, it's not that easy to run it. I think the new mechanics. I think people are not used to that yet, and they don't really work on the one cut feature. But and to move the pile, I don't even see that mechanic actually ever happen. I don't even know where that is. But
Well,
um,
I just, the move the pile and the other feature where you can pick what hole you go in. I just looked that up yesterday because I hadn't seen it. Apparently, the move the pile, you have to hold down truck when you're in the back of your alignment. I've never done it in a game. I've never
hmm
seen anybody do it, but
yeah,
you hold down truck. If your guy is a finesse runner, he will put his hand on the offensive lineman and kind of guide him out of the way. If your guy is a power runner, he will push him, apparently. And once the other mechanic is if you hit the juke button, I think the juke stick.
hmm
Like if you're running towards one hole and you want to cut to another hole and you hit the juke stick, it is supposed to allow you to maneuver through this hole. But I have not
hmm
seen it. So, I mean,
yeah. There's a
it's
lot
in
to
the game
learn.
apparently.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, and I arguably I need to spend some time on it. I'm just trying to keep up. And
I love the
speak.
one cut though.
Yeah, it's nice, man. If you can do that right, and you get I played Dalvin Cook yesterday, and that dude is a problem. So
I love the one cut, and I love there's actually the strafe burst or whatever on defense that
hmm
just trying to get the hang of now, which is pretty cool
hmm
too.
all right. Well, speaking of the King, we're at the King's division of Madden 18, and that's the King of OK, and he's sitting on top uh, of the AFC North at 3-0, and it looks like he's just doing his thing. And uh, I don't know if there's been any stress in any of his games. Is it as easy for what Cleveland Brown? I mean, they got the number two pick, I think, uh, which some are saying like, how do we even let that happen? But what your thoughts on Cleveland, and can anybody stop them?
Well, Mayfield's a beast. the thing about King this year is, I mean, Mayfield's really good and he's young. He's got a young quarterback that's a beast that he is going to beast with. So we all know what that means.
Yeah,
First of
yeah,
all, he's going to
yeah.
have a quarterback that is he's probably going to win MVP or something like that. So, and Rookie of the Year. So Mayfield is going to be ridiculous next season. Just be prepared.
Yeah.
But the random part of it kind of makes it a little up in the air because
Mhm.
like I can't figure out this point system, man. Like I don't know how much XP is required to go up a level. I don't
Mhm.
know how many attribute points Mayfield is going to get even if he wins all those awards because it's like a crapshoot, man. I can't figure it out. But
Mhm.
he's whatever it is, he's going to get a lot of it. So,
Yeah.
but you know, King. The thing about King is he's going to win games. But with that said, I was surprised to see the Steelers play him that close.
Mhm.
That kind of opened my eyes a little bit. But it's early, man. Like
Mhm.
early in the cycle, you know how it goes.
Mhm.
Anybody can win a game here and there.
Mhm.
So I think he's gonna take a couple losses. Um,
Mhm.
but he'll be in the running for the first or second seed. But like I said, this is a game where you play some defense. So I
Mhm.
think some of the better defensive players are gonna give him some problems.
Yeah, his next few games to that point are he plays Oakland, who we're going to talk about in a minute. Then he plays Baltimore Ravens. Then he plays Polo and the Chargers, and then he plays Lons and the Tampa, and then he's got Pittsburgh. Then some say it might be a little step down. He plays Kansas City, but we love Squirrel. All right, uh, the Ravens at 2-1, uh, in second place. You thought they were 2-2. Are the Ravens? I knew they. This was another quarterback pick when Renegade took the Ravens. This was all about the quarterback and the 91
Yeah.
speed. Uh,
Well, that's something where had I had a mid pick, the Ravens are probably the team that I would have taken with a mid to high pick just because the interest level of building an offense around
mhm,
Lamar Jackson is super high. Like that's gonna be
mhm,
fun, and I can tell that was Renegade's thinking. I haven't actually watched a whole game of him play yet, so I don't really know how he's
mhm.
using him. Um, but
Well,
that I think he's gonna be in the run in that division. It'll be interesting to see how him and King shake it out.
yeah, Lamar Jackson is the leading rusher on the team with 15 carries and 100 yards. So he's
Still not
getting
abuse.
yeah
He
he's
hadn't
getting
found that he hadn't found that QB rap yet.
yeah. And the next team I want to talk about, and I'm happy to see them right here at 500, right in the thick of the things. Peter Truth and the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 2-2, right in the thick of the things of the AFC North. I mean, I don't even know
Yeah,
if anybody
he
even realized that.
yeah he just lost. I think he got shut out last week, unfortunately. But P was not even gonna play this year, man.
Oh,
So I'm glad to see him playing, and I'm glad to see him looking
yeah,
good. But he's struggling with the same thing you struggle with right now: is what do I do with Andy Dalton? So
yeah. That team is tricky. You think you have it, and you really don't. And I think he made a move that probably I should have made. He did it early, and that was a good move. And I think getting the mobile quarterback and Tyron Taylor. We'll see where that play. You're right. He did lost to Atlanta 20-0. He beat Carolina, so he's beaten the teams that he should beat. He beat the Colts to open the season, but he lost big to the Ravens. Now he plays the Dolphins coming up, so that should be
that's
a
a good barometer game.
yeah. That's exactly. And then the Steelers, your boys at 0-3, and I just don't see it
We
going
talked
well for
about
him.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Well,
don't.
we'll see if he turns it around. The thing he's gonna have to wrap his hands around is the actual CFM aspect of the game because I
Mhm.
think I might have told you this, but I had a conversation with him early, like when I was trying to get him to join. I was like, "Hey, you need to join," and he
Mhm.
was like, "Who did I play this week?" I was like, "It ain't time to play. Like it's time to
Yeah.
train your players and do all this stuff." And he's like, "I don't care about training no players. I just want to play." And I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
well."
Mhm.
There's a little bit more to just playing than CFM. Go ahead. I know
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of players who just want to play, but if you just
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
and don't engage in some of this other stuff, you're gonna be
Yeah.
looking down at your roster one day like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
where did Le'Veon Bell go?
Yeah. And
he's
who's his
he's out free
quarterback?
agency. How
Yeah.
did that happen?
Yeah. He's got an old quarterback, so that's something to worry about. The AFC South. Uh, I don't know if you looked at this division recently, but it's Snake at 2-1, and the rest of the teams under 500, including the Jacksonville Jaguar, which were the sexy pick for Madden 19. I mean, arguably they have everything, but they're down there at 1-2. The Texans with the number one pick overall, luckily at 1-2, and my main man Jets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever he is, bringing in the rear at 0-3.
That's a
Uh,
bad division, man. That's a bad division. I had hoped to see Smiles make a comeback to his what year was that? Madden 16
yeah, yeah,
with a
yeah,
team like the Jags, but
yeah.
I haven't seen it so far. But like I said, it's early. It's early, man. We never know. But right now, that
It
division
is.
is looking about as bad as mine.
It is. And
Maybe a little
speaking,
worse. I mean, maybe a
yeah.
little better than mine, but worse. But bad regardless.
And last but not least, the AFC West and a different coach running with the Chargers and Polo. And it seems like he's got about seven receivers, all 6'4", with 95 jump. And I mean, this is like nuclear weapons over there in Charger land. They've got any weapon you could possibly need to light you up, and you
Yeah,
can see they've got 85 points already.
the
Um,
Chargers are one of my top selections. Fits
yeah,
Polo really well. The only hiccup, the only issue that I saw possibly with him was the whole dealing with Rivers and but
yeah,
Polo's gonna play well with any quarterback, man. So it wasn't something that stopped him from going.
yeah,
And it's looking like a solid selection for him so far.
yeah. And do you? I don't. Can anyone compete with him in that division? The Broncos are 2-1. Do you see that as a threat, or I mean, or is
It's
it too
too
early to
early to
tell?
tell.
Yeah.
It's too early to tell on the Broncos. Squirrel Bird is in the same boat I'm in. He hadn't put in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
time. I mean, we know he can be competitive, but I don't know, man. That looks like a division. Mine hadn't won a game,
No.
so
Yeah.
it's looking like Polo's got firm grip on that one.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill has been, I don't know if you noticed, been looking at your stat lines, but this guy has
Leading
been
the league
running,
in
yeah, he's
receiving.
been running by people, and every time you turn
He's gonna do
around,
that.
there's some PA monster play being called, and this guy's like 6 yards behind the defense, so
Yeah,
he's definitely
that's
somebody you
that's
got to know where he is on
that's
the
why he
field.
took him. So
Yeah,
I mean
yeah.
that he's gonna do what he's gonna do, but it's gonna be up to Squirrel to have that second option ready, man. And I don't think he has that ready yet.
No, I think it's Sammy Watkins and a little bit of Kelsey, but yeah, Tyreek Hill's already got 300 yards receiving in 4 games. So, mind in mind, I do want to kind of talk about him a little. Uh, you know, I feel for him. He plays the Browns next, and so it just doesn't get any. Uh-oh, we just got somebody in the chat that says, "Tell King to stop running the fake screen wheel." I got a sighting from Loco, but yeah, the Raiders. Back to the Raiders. I think they got off to a tough start. I don't think the season's over. I think even if they lose to Cleveland, they can kind of turn it around. They still got a lot of division games left, so I wouldn't throw in the towel yet.
Yeah, I still. I mean, we're in
Yeah,
week three. We're
yeah.
in
So,
week three.
so there's no panic. All right. Monk, is our tradition. Our last segment is a stir the pot, and that means that's where owners send in anonymous quotes, meaning they're not obligated to tell us that they've quoted. They can kind of stir the pot and give us comments about things on their mind that they want the league to hear on the air. So let's go with the first one, stir the pot. One I have here, Monk, it says, "Will they call me Big D take action game to game on winning the Super Bowl?" Meaning, will he take money on winning the Super Bowl if he gets there?
I'm sure he will, but I'm sure he'd probably take money right now on the fact that he probably thinks he's gonna win the Super Bowl. But
Mm,
I'm gonna tell you right now. Right now is the best time to get in his pockets on that bet because he's super confident. I don't think that he knows the caliber of who he's played so far, but I think he'd be willing to bet. But couple weeks from now, after he's played some other players, we gonna know. We're gonna know where he's at. So, like I said, Cowboys and Indians, man.
Mm,
That's gonna tell us all we need to know. But I'm
mm,
sure he would take all the action you want to give him at this point.
mm. Yes, he would. He is a gamer. Here's the next stir the pot. It says, "Will King run every known glitch in the game to win a championship?"
Yes, he will, and I don't blame him. I
Wow.
will leave it at that.
Wow.
We've covered this glitch topic 100 times, man. I'm not gonna go down that road again, but
Wow.
uh,
Yeah.
I'm sure that he will run what works, and I'm sure that he will do what it takes to win, as everyone should.
Yeah, I got that's
I'll
true.
leave it at
Yeah.
that.
All right. Yeah. Listen, it's stir the pot for a reason. We're just reading them. Don't shoot the messenger. Next, dog. Dog. This is hilarious. Dog 3 Nick is fucking trash.
Oh God.
Signed anonymously by Lons. Oh my
That feud is funny, man.
god.
That feud makes me laugh. Like that's the way you feud, man. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you ain't gotta be talking about people's kids and families
Yeah, exactly.
and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Just talk about how someone's trash at the game and how you're just gonna beat the hell out of them and how they're not gonna make the playoffs. Like that's good. That's good shit right
Yeah,
there.
that's good stuff. All in fun, and we love Dog Nick, and we love, of course.
And
Um,
Lonzo's not the guy you want to get a trash talking battle with. We have
no,
learned that over the
no, yeah,
years.
I would leave Lons alone, and I think that is it. We didn't get
Well, I
many.
got one. I
You
got one
did.
over here.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did. I don't know why it was sent to me. They usually sent to you. How
Hmm.
about from this anonymous source? Lawns is cabbage, pure cabbage, your lowest form of leaf vegetable.
All right. I think I could guess who sent that one in based
I'm
on the
pretty sure you
cabbage.
can. I'm pretty, our most frequent contributor to the Stir the Pot. We don't have to disclose who that is, but our most frequent contributor sent that in.
Exactly. Well, if it is who we think it is, he's rightfully so because
He can say that.
he
He can
did
say that.
deliver a blow for the for his
It's so
team.
funny though, because Harvey's not a. Oh, I just revealed him.
Yeah.
Harvey's not a bad player. He's
No.
all right. I mean, he has win diseases. Like, I will never forget
Yeah.
how him and Polo had that battle. He went and won that division.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
with that said, I can't think of anybody in this league that I would want to get shut out by
No. No.
less than Billy Harvey. So
You don't want that on your
anyway,
resume. Yeah.
no,
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 no.
no.
Billy's a solid user. I don't know if you noticed, but he's got a strong user, and
Yeah,
he's a good owner. And with the Eagles, you know,
that's a good team. You
yeah,
can win with teams on this game
yeah. And that's the other thing.
if you play smart.
That is true. Well, Commissioner, listen, that was our opening segment. Looking forward to the rest of the season, and I think we'll close it out here.
All right, man. Glad to have you back. Look forward to doing this once again more often, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can. The morale of the league will stay high so that me and you are not like up to here with it like we were last year,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, no doubt. And as long as we televise the games, it's fun. It's entertaining to watch them, man. All right,
Again, nice to see you, man. Nice to
all
have
right.
you next week.
We're out of here. Chalk Talk episode 1 is in the books. See
All
you
right.
later. Peace.